Welcome to Talerecappedplus. In this movie, we see a father, mother, and daughter sleeping soundly. They live around the beach. At midnight, the father wakes up and climbs down the water tank in their garden, which is in the middle of a heavy rainstorm. As he goes down, struck by something he can't see, which makes him scream in terrible pain. His attempts to get out of the tank are unsuccessful as the thing pulls him inside, killing him. That's what takes place. Those things need to stay clean. The scene then changes to Oakland, California in 1978, where we meet a guy named Ben, his wife Jules, and their 10-year-old daughter Rhea. They have a pet store where they sell different kinds of animals. An old lawyer called Amos Stillbury walks into their shop one night as they are getting ready to close. He has some shocking news for them. After Ben's father died, Amos told them about a house in Hobbits Bay, Oregon, that belonged to Ben's mother. This is where we find out that Ben is actually the son of the man from the first scene. Amos also tells Ben that his father and sister did not die in a car crash as he had thought. Instead, they went missing in a strange way near their Oregon beach house. They both died before Ben was born, though, so he never got to meet them. The lawyer also gives Ben the key to the beach house and tells him where it is. All of these new facts shock Ben and Jules, but they still decide to go see the inherited land. The family packs up their essentials and leaves for Oregon the next morning. Based on a map, they get off the highway and try to find their way through the woods, but a huge tree has fallen in their way. So, they continue their trip on foot for the rest of it. They finally get to the abandoned house, which is now fully overgrown with plants after a while of walking. They open the door and walk into the dusty room, which still seems to be functional. Soon after, the family goes to the garden, where the bay outside their window greets them with its beauty. They also find the water tank. Ben says that these kinds of tanks used to be used to catch water from rain, or, if you're lucky, young people who are being playful while skinny dipping. After looking around the inside, he finds that it's more like a cave. He only finds a lamp, though, which his father had used in the first scene. The family then starts to clean the house as best they can. It looks like they've chosen to stay at the house for a few days since they bring camping gear from their car. When it gets dark that night, the pair looks through some pictures and papers they found while cleaning the house. Many of them have media clippings about Ben's father and sister's possible disappearance. They also find Ben's mother's book, in which she wrote about how his father disappeared on that stormy night and how his sister disappeared 5 days later. On the same night, Rhea is trying to sleep in her room when she hears a strange noise outside. Soon after, she saw moving under her bed, which scared her. She quickly goes to her parents' room and tells them that someone or something is trying to get in. Then Ben and Jules each check the whole house on their own, and while Jules is searching, she hears scary sounds. The noise takes her to the backyard, but there's nothing there. When she turns around, Ben jumps out and scares her. "Okay, honey, I get it." They walk back to their room and fall asleep because they think the sound is nothing. At dawn the next morning, Jules finds her husband working on the generator and other broken parts of the house. A short time later, Ben goes down into the water tank to check the pipes. After that, he fixes the valve and makes sure everything is working. Ben finds something before getting out of the tank. Something strange lying on the ground. He shows it to his wife inside the house. As an expert on animals, Jules can't figure out what kind of animal it is because she has never seen one like it before. Not yet. That's simple. It has many popes. She thinks it might be a frog larvae after a quick look and suggests that they take it home to study it more. That same time, Rhea is outside playing with her dog when she notices the water tank. She looks inside and is terrified to see a big creature moving inside, which makes her scream. Ben and Jules run to help her, but the tank has nothing in it. Just like before, a woman named Mary Opinji, a local broker sent by Amos, walks in and cuts them off in the middle of their talk. As she offers to help sell the house, She says that she already has a possible buyer who is eager to close the deal right away. The couple is shocked by the asking price, which is a lot more than they thought it would be. They are happy with the deal, but they want to think about it some more before making a final choice. Since they don't know much about the area, they ask Muriel about the background of the property. She replies that the land has been the subject of tales that it is cursed. She said that the people who lived in the area thought that a terrible tsunami had hit the area many years ago, which led them to think that the land is cursed. That's something I didn't know tsunamis could do. When they're done talking, it's already dark, so Muriel goes back to her car to leave. But her car gets stuck in the mud, so she has to get out and look into it. At that very moment, an unknown being attacks her and pulls her deep into the forest. Jules hears her screams and goes downstairs to see what's going on. It scares the little girl to see a dark figure outside the kitchen window, which makes her scream again. Ben runs down and yells, "Baby, stop screaming." He looks out the window but doesn't see anything. Ben promises Jules that he will call Muriel the next day because she really wants to leave. Ben wakes up the next morning to find that the water from the tap is completely dirty. He then goes down to the water tank to look into what's wrong. In that place, he finds a piece of cloth stuck in one of the pipes and a dead squirrel floating in the water. He brings the body outside and shows it to his wife to convince her that the animal their daughter saw the night before was probably a raccoon. Ben plans to go to a nearby gas station later in the day to fill up their car's gas tank. As he drives through the trees, he finds Muriel's abandoned car. He looks around the area for hints because he is interested and sees blood stains on the ground. As he follows the trail, he finds Muriel's horribly cut-up body. He runs back to his car in fear and calls the cops right away for help. Jules goes back to the beach house and sees that the water tank hatch is open. As she goes down the stairs, she sees that water has been spilled all over the floor. Then she gets a bunch of keys and goes into the room next door, where she finds another book written by Ben's mother. In its pages, Jules finds a story about the horrible things that Ben's mother went through in the house and why she didn't tell Ben the truth. It turns out that the water tank is home to a number of scary animals. They killed Ben's dad and sister. When his mother heard about it, she packed her things right away and left the house. At the same time, Jules hears footsteps outside while she reads her notebook. Due to worry, the mother goes to check on her daughter but finds that the door is locked from the outside. So, Jules breaks a window right away and runs upstairs to get to Rhea. But Ben runs back to his family right away and is glad to see that they are safe. They talk about what they've found. Ben tells them about Muriel's dead body, and Jules tells them what's in his mother's book. Even though she wants them to leave right away, Ben convinces her to stay by telling her that the cops are on their way. He wants to see them die, because that's what they're going to do. For some reason, he chooses to go back into the woods in the meantime. Not long after, a police officer shows up and stops by Muriel's car. A search of the area follows, but he doesn't find anything wrong. So, he goes back to his car, and that's when he feels someone approaching him from behind. This thing is a huge, slimy reptile with long, sharp teeth. The thing tackles the officer and pulls him deep into the woods before he can fire a shot. From afar, Ben sees this terrifying scene and quickly runs back to his family. He breaks the news to his wife and tells her that they need to find a way to make it through the night because the animals only come out at night. In the next scene, Ben chooses to use gas and kerosene that have been left over to make a makeshift bomb. He wants to destroy the nest that the thing has made in the water tank. Jules tries to talk him out of it by saying it's too dangerous, but Ben argues that it's the only way for them to stay alive. "Honey, trust me, there is no better thing to do than blow up the house." Before going down into the water tank, he tells his family to stay safe in a room while he gets the things he needs. When Ben goes inside the building that looks like a cave, he sets off the makeshift bomb and quickly runs out of the room. But the bomb goes off much faster than he thought it would, and it doesn't have such a big effect. Instead, The sound of the bomb wakes up the creatures, which makes them attack him. Ben, who is the newest and best candidate for the Darwin Awards, fights the creatures desperately and makes it out of the tank on somehow. But he gets badly hurt in the process. While this is going on, Jules and Rhea hear a loud banging on the door. When Jules slowly opens the door, she is relieved to see that it's their dog Archie. A short time later, the door is hit again, but this time it's harder. Jules knows it's the monster, so she tries to block the door with a cabinet. But another thing breaks into the room through a window and pulls Rhea outside and into the water tank. When Jules sees this, she runs down to save her daughter. But she doesn't see Ben, who is badly hurt, lying on the ground. "Honey, I should not have done the bomb thing." When Jules sees that he isn't able to fight anymore, she chooses to save their daughter from the creatures on her own. As someone who knows a lot about animals, she knows that chemicals, fire, and her story armor can all keep the animals away. With this information in mind, she covers herself in the chemicals, uses gasoline to make a homemade fire torch, and grabs a garden fork before going into the water tank. As she goes deeper into the cave, she realizes that other animals are coming back to their nest, which makes her decide to use fire as her defense. For a short time, this scares them away, and Jules tells her daughter to go to the exit. Soon after, she runs out of gas and has to run away. Jules is struck by one of the things, and it pulls her under the water. No matter what, she fights it bravely and even kills it by sticking a planting fork into it. Mom and daughter finally get out of the water tank after some time, and Jules shuts the lid before the thing comes out. After this, Jules takes Rhea and Archie to the police car and gets a gun out of there. She goes back right away to get Ben. Jules has to use all of her strength to carry her husband to the car. Things get worse, though, when they see something sitting on the roof of the car. At this very important moment, Jules fires a gun that kills the creature by going through its head. It then runs away. After all this trouble, the family is finally able to get away. As soon as Jules gets to a safe distance, she stops and takes a moment to calm down. As they drive back to the city, the movie ends. Turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel. Subscribe to see more movies like this. Thanks for watching it.